Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 29th of August 2023. In today's newspaper discussion, we are going to cover all those important articles that were there in today's newspaper. We are going to discuss these topics from the viewpoint of UPSC CSE prelims and mains exam. So let us start the discussion. So these are the list of articles that we are going to take for discussion in today's newspaper analysis, right? So let us talk about the first topic. So this topic is related to environment and ecology. So this topic is important from the perspective of GS paper 3 of the mains exam. Okay. It is also very important for the prelims exam. So what is the title of this topic? The title is At Delhi Summit, Demonstrate Climate Leadership, right? This is the title. So we are going to discuss about this topic. So name of the topic is At Delhi Summit, Demonstrate Climate Leadership. Okay, so this is the name of the topic. Demonstrate climate leadership. So what is the context of this topic? So let us understand that part. As we know that now India is holding the presidency. Okay, India is holding the presidency of the G20. Okay, of the G20 grouping. So G20 is a group of, let's say, 20 most industrialized nations of the world. So like it has representation of 19 countries, and the European Union is also a member of G20. Presently, like India is holding the presidency. So India is the president of the G20 summit. So this presidency is for 1 year. It has started last year and its summit is going to happen, right? So G20 summit is going to happen in the month of September, okay? In the month of September from 9th to 10th September, okay? September 9th to 10th. So we are going to have a G20 summit. So in this summit, basically, like, this article has been written by the author to give an importance, right, to the environment and ecology related thing. So the author has, let's say, like, has tried to nudge the leaders, of the G20 grouping so that they can participate, right, together for a global cause. Global cause means for the purpose of environment and ecology. Why it is important? Because the environment is a global common, okay? So the environment that we live in, it is a global common. So what do we mean by global common? It simply means if we affect the environment at one place in the globe, it is going to affect everyone because the atmosphere is connected, right? So any harm that is done to the environment at one place is going to harm the other places also. So that's why the author says that at G20 presidency, right, at G20 summit, all the leaders of the world should demonstrate, right, climate leadership. They should demonstrate that they have the capacity of leading the world. Why it is important? Because the G20 nations, okay, G20 nations, they are the largest emitter, okay, they are together the largest emitter of greenhouse gases, okay, they are together largest emitter of greenhouse gases, okay, emitter of greenhouse gases, GHGs. And since we are the largest emitter of greenhouse gases, so we have the responsibility also to act towards climate change, to act for safeguarding the climate. And the author says that, like, these G20 leaders, I mean, like, most of their energy thing are fossil fuel based, okay? Most of their energy requirement that is met is fossil fuel based. And many of these G20 nations are also, let's say, like, generators of these fossil fuels, means like they also generate the fossil fuels. So the author says that this is the right time to showcase climate leadership among different countries. Okay, how we can showcase climate leadership? by taking various steps. What are those steps? Some of the G20 members have also taken a pledge. Okay, they have taken a pledge. What kind of pledge? That like we will go for net zero carbon emission. Okay, we will go for net zero carbon emission, and India has also taken a target of going for net zero carbon emission by the year of 2070. So by the year of 2070, we want to become zero or net zero carbon emitters. Means like whatever carbon we are going to emit, we are also going to produce that amount of carbon here. Okay, so this is what is being said by the authors. So authors suggest many steps for this. What are the steps that should be, let's say, like, looked into by different leaders, by these leaders? So these steps have also been mentioned by the author. So let's discuss about those steps one by one. Okay, so author has suggested various steps. Okay, so author has suggested 4 steps in all. The first step that the author has suggested is ensure clear governance structures. Okay, so first step is we need to ensure clear governance structure. How can we ensure clear governance structure? So like we can ensure it in a way that all the G20 nations, right, they should look at their local own laws. They should look at their own local laws, and those laws should be placed in such a manner that, like, there are structures, okay, governance structures with set responsibilities, so that responsibilities are divided at different levels of the governance structures. Okay, this structure should ensure that the responsibilities are delegated. Okay, so that the responsibilities are delegated. Okay, delegated responsibilities. Among different, let's say, member countries. This is important. And the second step that the author has suggested, so this is one of the steps that the author has suggested, that like what we can do to ensure, right, to ensure that, like, climate action or climate leadership is showcased by the G20 countries. The second step said, like, we need to also aid in decarbonization. Okay, second thing is aiding in decarbonization. What do we mean by aiding in decarbonization? Aiding means helping in decarbonization. Okay, helping in decarbonization. Decarbonization means like we should, let's say, like, move towards alternative sources of energy. If presently, if many countries are using fossil fuel based energy, right, if they are using fossil fuel based energy, in that case, right, they need to move to alternate sources of energy. For example, one of the example may be solar energy, or maybe hydroelectricity, right, hydroelectricity, or even, right, even nuclear energy is considered to be an alternative. Okay, nuclear energy is also, right, is also environment friendly. So author says, like, we need to aid, we need to help in decarbonization. And who is going to help? Generally, who is going to help? Generally, those countries who are developed, right? So it is the responsibility of the developed countries, right? It is the responsibility of the developed countries to aid, right? To aid the developing countries. How they can aid? By, let's say, going for funding, right? By going for funding for the developing countries, because those countries who have already developed, these countries have developed at the cost of environment. They have gone for industrialization at a very rapid pace. And this industrialization has also, let's say, affected the global climate, global environment. So these developed countries owe historical responsibility. They have responsibility towards the developing countries, because the developing countries do have developmental needs as well. So they need to go for development. And if they go for development in the same way that the developed countries has already gone, it is going to make the climate worse. So that's why the developing countries need to adopt alternative sources of energy. They need to go for cleaner sources of energy. And for adopting that thing, they need some funding, so that, like, they can adapt the latest technologies, they can go for alternative sources. Okay, so that's why funding is an important part. So developed countries should focus on giving funding to the developing countries. Apart from this, the author has said the third step, okay, two steps we have already discussed. Third step that the author has suggested is the G20 should take a lead in streamlining international efforts to achieve just energy transition. Okay, so the thing is like we need to streamline. Okay, we need to streamline, right? Streamline the, okay, we need to streamline the international efforts. Okay, streamline the international efforts. And how we can streamline in international efforts? By bringing, right, by bringing all the G20 nations together. If all the G20 nations together act, right, if they together act, in that case they will not only be instrumental in doing this, because the G20 nations represent 75% of world's economy. Okay, they represent 75% of world economy. So if they act together, in that case they will also bring together, okay, they will bring together other countries also. Okay, they will bring together other countries also in their path to achieve, let's say, you know, better environment for us. Okay, that's the thing. And so in this article the author has also talked about the need for transparency. Why transparency is important? Because transparency will help other countries also to get to know what steps you are taking. For example, there is a country which is taking some steps. Other countries will also get to know, like, you know, what steps they are taking. So this is important. Transparency means, like, you know, disclosing the information, making the world aware what you are doing, okay, by disclosure requirements. Okay, that is transparency. Apart from this, the author has suggested another thing. Author has said that the outcome document of G20 Energy Transition Ministers meeting called for just, okay, so this is again very important line. You need to mention this line whenever you are writing an answer to environment and ecology, to highlight this particular important aspect. That say just affordable, okay, it says just affordable, right, just affordable and inclusive energy transition pathways, and inclusive, just affordable and inclusive energy transition pathways. Okay, energy transition pathways. So what is this just affordable and energy transition pathways? So this is the outcome document. Okay, this is the outcome document of G20 Energy Transition Ministers meeting. Okay, so this is the outcome document. So that's the thing. So that's why the author finally says that the G20 summit must strongly commit to collective action to global climate change. Okay, so G20 countries must strongly commit collective action to global climate change. That's the thing. So with this, we will quickly move to the next topic. And before that, like, we have two questions. One of the question is for the prelims exam, other is for the mains exam. So let's look at this question. It says, with reference to the United Nations, okay, with reference to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, consider the following statements. They have given two statements. One of the statements says that this convention came into existence at Rio Summit in 1992. Okay. Second, Kyoto Protocol was the first legally binding agreement under UNFCCC. Okay. So what is UNFCCC? UNFCCC stands for United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. All of us might have heard about Rio Earth Summit. So this topic is included even in NCERTs in 9th standard, 10th standard, while schooling, right? During schooling time, we have come across this Rio Earth Summit. So Rio Earth Summit has happened because, like, people wanted to come together, they wanted to discuss about sustainable development. Okay, so they have given the definition of sustainable development in the Rio Earth Summit, and there itself, like, you know, this United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change came into being. And like, you know, after then the Kyoto Protocol was the first legally binding agreement under UNFCCC. Okay, so both these statements are correct. Correct answer would be option C. Now let us see this question, the mains question. It says, elaborate the effect of climate change. Okay, elaborate the effect of climate change in India. Climate change is a global problem. How can multiple nations come together to solve the problem of climate change? So you need to write an answer to this question, and after writing, you can share this answer directly to me. I will evaluate. Okay, Jahidul at lukmaanias.com. Okay, lukmaanias.com. Okay, write an answer to this question and share with me. I'm going to, let's say, evaluate this answer and share the answered evaluated copy back with you. So we have also included explanation to this question. You can go through the explanation in your free time. So with this, let us move to the next topic. Okay, next topic. It says India needs a comprehensive sexuality education. Okay, so this comprehensive sexuality education, this topic is important. Okay, so I'm going to discuss about this topic now. So next topic says, India needs comprehensive sexuality education. This topic is very, very important. Okay, it may be asked in the UPSC mains exam also, but recently you might have heard about, right? You might have heard about, there is a movie that came. Okay, there is a movie that came. It is Oh My God 2, OMG 2. Okay, Oh My God 2. So it's a movie that recently came. Akshay Kumar is the actor of this movie. This Oh My God 2 movie is totally, let's say, like based on this particular topic, which is comprehensive sexuality education. In that movie itself, they have discussed about, right, you know, the entire story in that movie is woven around this particular theme, comprehensive sexuality education, and the lawyer wins the case also in the court. So if you happen to see this movie, you may be able to relate with me. Otherwise, you can watch it in your free time to understand why there is a need of comprehensive sexuality education. Now let us understand like why we are talking about this particular topic, because like you might be knowing like that, like, you know, in India, right, many children, whether they are male or they are female, right, female means whether they are boy or girls, all of them are, let's say, like, you know, many of them happen to, let's say, like, you know, come across at one point of their lifetime, right, come across this sexual harassment. Okay, they come across this sexual harassment. It does happen, right, it does happen with many people, right, they come across sexual harassment, and in many cases they do not know, right, you know, whether they are sexually being exploited, whether they are being harassed. So they don't know how to respond to a certain situation. They don't know, like, you know, whom to talk about it, because like we do not have a comprehensive sexuality education in India, and this leads to a kind of vacuum in the society, because whenever we talk about sex, right, it does have many things associated with it. There are social things associated with it. There is a notion of, let's say, like, you know, there's a notion of bodily autonomy. Okay, bodily autonomy. So this autonomy is also very important. Okay, bodily autonomy is another thing. Then question of adolescence. Okay, question of adolescence. Like many people do not know whether they have come to the adolescent age, what rights, what responsibilities do they have, right? So this is also connected. And apart from this, right, there is a notion of consent. Okay, so many people do not know what do we mean by consent. Okay, what do we mean by consent, and who can legally consent to let's say, like, you know, sexual thing. So I mean, like, you know, there are, let's say, laws in India. For example, Prevention of Children from Sexual Harassment Act, okay, POXO. Prevention of Children from Sexual Harassment Act. Okay, so we do have POXO laws also. This talks about, like, the age at which a person can give consent. However, there have been many cases in different high courts in India, including the Delhi High Court, Madras High Court, Meghalaya High Court, and they have talked that the government of India should talk about, or should think about, let's say, recalibrating or changing the age of consent, So the thing is, like, if I talk about in our society, I mean, like, the students who are going to school, let's say children, right? So they do not know many things related to sexuality. So the thing is, like, it is also not being talked about, it is not being told, it is not being, let's say, like, those students do not know how to respond to a certain situation, right? How to respond to their own, let's say, mental situation, or, like, they might be having these things. So the thing is, like, in this article, they talk about that there is a need of comprehensive sexual education. And here the author has also discussed about, right, United Nations, okay, United Nations Population Fund. The United Nations Population Fund has also discussed about that, like, there is a need, the right of access to comprehensive sexual education is grounded in the fundamental human rights, and is, okay. So, like, in this article itself, I'm going to talk about this article. Here in this article, they have discussed about many things. For example, they have talked about UNFPA, okay, UNFPA stands for United Nations Population Fund. This United Nations Population Fund says that the right of access to comprehensive sexuality education is grounded in the fundamental human right, and is a means to empower young people to protect their health, well-being, and dignity. And apart from this, there was a UNESCO 2020 Global Status Report, okay. So there was a report which is UNESCO report, okay, UNESCO report of 2021. So that report is known as UNESCO 2021 Global Status Report, okay. So this is known as Global Status Report. So in that report also, the UNESCO has said, right, UNESCO has said the journey towards comprehensive sexuality education says that capacity building of teacher is critical, as the curriculum requires non-intuitive participatory pedagogies, okay. So even UNESCO has recognized that the teacher should be trained to teach students, right, about this thing. And also in this article, they have also talked about, let's say, the Kama Sutra was translated to English by a person, and that person has also talked about that there is a need of providing sexual education. In this article itself, they have discussed about many dating apps, and people who have participated in the dating apps, that they even don't know what is consent, they don't know how to give consent, how to ask for consent and all, okay. So that's why this is important. And apart from this, there is other, let's say, research paper that says 3 decades of research, the case for comprehensive sex education, okay. So it says 3 decades of research, 3 decades of research, okay, 3 decades of research, okay, 3 decades of research, and which says the case for comprehensive sex education, the case for comprehensive sex education, okay, the case for comprehensive sex education. So this is also, this report was published in Journal of Adolescent Health, and it was quoted by the World Health Organization, okay, World Health Organization. This is the thing. So the thing is, like, all these documents, all these reports highlight the importance of providing comprehensive sexuality education in India among children. So one person has joined online, asked a question, Vijay Laya Bosa. So, sir, it is also related to orientation towards LGBTQ, homosexuality, etc. So the thing is like, this LGBTQ, this particular thing is being talked and being debated in the like in the Supreme Court of India, because like, there are many people who are advocating for the rights of people from these communities. They are advocating that these people from these communities are not getting many social rights. For example, because of their sexual orientation, they are not getting, let's say, like, ration cards, they are not getting many government services. Okay, so this is being debated in the Supreme Court of India, and this sexuality, comprehensive sexuality education will also help people to know about, their sexual behavior, know about other sexual behavior, know about, like, how to respond to a certain situation. So the thing is like, this is about bringing this particular thing into the academics, into the curriculum of education. All right, so this is the thing. So with this, we will move to the next topic now. So this topic is related to Article 370 of the Constitution of India, that has been abrogated by the central government in 2019. So this particular abrogation of Article 370 is being debated in the Supreme Court, where like petitioners have argued that this abrogation of Article 370 is unconstitutional, it is void. And on the other side, the people who are representing the central government, they are trying to defend their move. So like, we have discussed about all those hearings, we have discussed about, like, let's say, previous happenings in our earlier The Hindu newspaper analysis. Today we are going to discuss about this particular update, which says Article 35A denied many in Jammu and Kashmir their rights. This Chief Justice of India has said. Okay, so basically the Chief Justice of India has asked the petitioners means those people who have filed case in the Supreme Court of India against the central government for their move of abrogation of Article 370. So like, there was Article 35A in the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir. In that Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir, they have, right, they have talked about, so like, I'm going to write about this. Okay, so this is the next topic. I'm just writing the topic to be, let's say, Article 370 related case, which is being heard in the Supreme Court. So over here, what has happened, the Chief Justice of India has talked about Article 35A. And this Article 35A, what it does, this Article 35A gives permanent, let's say, like, categorizes citizen in the state of Jammu and Kashmir as permanent citizens. Okay, as permanent, let's say, like, permanent citizens. So those people who are considered as permanent citizen of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, so like, they are considered from 1927 itself, and they are on a hereditary basis. Okay, hereditary basis means the other people who go and reside in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, who do certain work, who, let's say, like, temporarily have shifted over there, even if they get residency status over there, they will not be considered as permanent residents, and those people are denied many basic rights. So this question has been, let's say, asked by the Chief Justice of India to the petitioners. So the Chief Justice of India said that, like, this particular Article 35A gave special rights and privileges, right, to the permanent residents, and virtually took away the rights for non-residents. Okay, so here they talk about permanent residents of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, they talk about permanent residents. So this is this is being questioned by the Chief Justice of India. However, the from the central government, they say, like, that's why the central government has abrogated Article 370. Okay, they have abrogated to, let's say, like, make it more just for the people who are residing in Jammu and Kashmir. However, the Chief Justice of India has asked the central government petitioner also that, like, whether, okay, he has asked the the central government that whether the center has adhered to the principle of federalism while abrogating Article 370. Okay, so the Chief Justice of India has said that, like, the central government did not follow the, let's say, principle of federalism. How? Because earlier they have dissolved the State Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, then they have implemented the President's rule. After implementing the President's rule, they have assumed the power of the state government, and they have, let's say, given opinion to themselves that now, like, the Article 370 can be abrogated. So, like, this is being this is what the Chief Justice of India has said. Okay, so, like, he has questioned both the parties, okay, both the parties, the central government about its legality of abrogating Article 370, and the state government, the, let's say, petitioners, about Article 35A. Okay, so this debate is happening. So it says the CGI has said Article 35 gave special rights and privileges to permanent citizens and virtually took away the rights for non-residents. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, with this, we have another topic. This topic is again important. It says ISRO to launch Aditya L1 on September 2 to study the sun. Okay, so Aditya L1 is a mission to study the sun. Okay, it is a solar mission. Okay, so we let's understand about Aditya L1 mission. Okay, this topic is important. Okay, so what is the name of the topic? This is ISRO to launch Aditya L1. Okay, so here I'm just writing Aditya L1. So what is Aditya L1? We need to understand about it. Now, first of all, we need to understand this Aditya L1 is a solar mission of ISRO. Okay, it is a solar mission. And who is launching this mission? This mission is going to be launched by Indian Space Research Organization. Okay, Indian Space Research Organization. So what they want to do, they want to study the, let's say, various aspects of the sun. For example, one of the aspect would be the coronosphere, to understand what kind of reaction happens, right? What is the magnetic field? Many things. So I'm going to talk about the payloads also, payloads that they are going to implement over here. But to understand Aditya L1, we also need to understand where are we going to place this particular satellite. So the thing is, for that, let's consider this is Earth. Okay, for that, let's consider this is Earth, and let's say this is Sun. Let's say this is Sun. So there will be a place, there will be a point, right? There will be a point over here, right, which will be known as L1. This L1 is known as Lagrange point. Okay, so what is L1? L1 is known as Lagrange point 1. Okay, Lagrange point 1. So Lagrange points are those points that lie between two heavenly bodies, and in these points, if you bring any man-made or artificial satellite which is smaller in size, it is going to experience zero gravity, it is going to experience nil gravity. And if it is going to experience nil gravity from, let's say, these heavenly bodies, it will be able to stay stable in this particular location. It is going to stay stable. Okay, this is the L1 point. And how many Lagrange points exist between two bodies? There are 5 Lagrange points. One point is this one. The Lagrange point 2 will be here. The Lagrange point 3 will be somewhere here, L3. Lagrange point 4 will be, L4 will be here. Okay, L4. Lagrange point 5, L5 will be here. So, like, these are known as Lagrange points. Okay, these are known as Lagrange point, like that. So there are 5 Lagrange points, and this L1 Lagrange point here, like, if we place Aditya L1, okay, if we place Aditya L1, so what will happen? The Earth is, let's say, revolving around the sun. So between L1 and the sun, okay, between L1 and the sun, there will be no incident of eclipse. Okay, so there will not be any eclipse thing. So for L1, for Aditya L1, the sun will always be visible. Okay, sun will always be visible, and it is going to study the sun all the time. So that's the thing. This is the Aditya L1 mission, and here we are also going to understand about the payloads that will be that are being used. So these are the 7 payloads that will be used in the Aditya L1 thing, okay, 7 payloads. So one of the payload is known as L1 orbiting X-ray spectrometer. Second, visible emission line coronagraph. Third, solar ultraviolet imaging telescope. Fourth, Aditya solar wind particle experiment and plasma analyzer package for Aditya. Then it has advanced triaxial high resolution digital magnetometer. Then it has high energy L1 orbiting X-ray spectrometer. Then it has solar low energy X-ray spectrometer. So all of these things are acting as payloads. Payloads means in the Aditya L1 that we are sending, we are going to add these instruments, and these instruments are going to do their work and it is going to provide us data. Okay, 4 of these instruments will be directly, let's say, like studying the sun, and other 3 instruments will be, let's say, analyzing those data in situ inside the Aditya L1 mission itself, right? Inside the Aditya L1. So this is the thing. So we do have a question for you for practice for the prelims exam. This says, recently seen in the news, the term visible emission line coronagraph, okay, this term, and the advanced triaxial high resolution digital magnetometer. So these terms, like I have just discussed over here, okay, advanced triaxial high resolution digital magnetometer. So these things are, what are these? These refer to which of the following? They refer to, like, they are related with Aditya L1 mission. Correct answer for this question is option C. Okay, option C is the right answer. So we have given an explanation also to this question. You can go through it in your free time. Now let us talk about another topic. Okay, so this is another topic. This topic is again important. So this topic is going to be very important for us to understand few concepts. It says loanable funds theory. How interest rates are determined in the loan market. Okay, so here we are going to understand 2 kind of theory. One of the theory is known as loanable fund theory for interest, and other is known as, like, a pure time in preference theory of interest. Okay, so we are going to discuss about these theories. These theories are related to economics. These theories are related to finance. Okay, so let's discuss about this. So what is the name of the topic? It says loanable fund theory. Okay, loanable fund theory. So we are going to understand about this theory, and we are going to understand about another theory. So we are going to discuss about this theory, loanable funds theory. So here, like, we have, let's say, one of the persons are, let's say, lenders. Then we have borrowers. And we are going to discuss about depositors. Okay, depositors. Okay, so let's discuss about depositors. Borrowers and lenders. Okay, let's discuss about this thing. So who are lenders? Lenders are basically banks. Okay, banks do lend money to the customers, and customers like us, we go to the bank to borrow money. But where does the bank receive the money? The bank receive the money from the depositors, those people who deposit their money into the bank in time and demand liabilities format. Okay, so in savings account, in current account, we deposit our currency, we deposit our money. Okay, so why do we deposit it? So this loanable funds theory says that those people who deposit it, so what they are doing an investment. They are doing an investment, and from this particular investment, what they want some return. They want some return at a later date. Okay, they want some return at a later date, and for that they are ready to wait. Okay, they are ready to wait for a period which is known as waiting period. So these depositors, they save their money, they invest their money into the bank, they save their money, and they wait for it. Why do they wait? They wait for it for for, let's say, earning interest. Okay, for earning interest. Okay, for earning interest. If the banks give more interest. So like, this loanable funds theory says if banks give more interest, in that case, they will be more incentivized to, let's say, like, deposit their money into the banking. And what the borrowers do, borrowers borrow money from the banks, right? And they give interest. Why would they like to give interest? Because these borrowers want to, let's say, reinvest money or use this money for other purposes. And after using this money, right, for other purposes, out of this, it is going to pay interest also to the bank, right? It is going to pay interest, plus it is going to repay the principal. Okay, it is going to repay the principal. And apart from this, these borrowers have this tendency in mind that they want to gain some marginal profit, okay, which is known as marginal productivity of capital, okay, which is known as marginal productivity of capital, marginal productivity of capital. So what is marginal productivity of capital? Let's understand this thing. Let's understand that the borrower over here is a business, okay, it's a business, maybe XYZ company. It is borrowing money from the banks. They have to repay the principal, they have to repay the interest, but the amount that they have borrowed, so they are going to use that amount for generating more profit. So from the profit that is here, it has generated, it is going to pay back the principal, it is going to pay back the interest, and also it is going to earn some amount. That earning amount is known as marginal productivity of capital. Like they have borrowed capital, they are using that capital, they are making profit, they are returning the principal, they are returning the interest, and also they are earning something, which is known as marginal productivity of capital. This is known as loanable fund theory. So the thing is, like, borrowers, I mean, like, they want to generate marginal productivity from the capital. And there is another theory, another, let's say, related theory, which is known as the let's say pure time preference theory of interest, okay, pure time preference theory of interest. And that theory is thinking opposite to it, okay. This theory thinks just opposite to it. So you can read that article to learn little more about it, because I have little less time. I need to let's say cover many other topics also. So that's the thing, it is there in this article itself. Just understand this thing. If you have understood about this loanable funds theory, so you will be able to understand that thing also, pure time preference theory, okay, of interest. So these are theories of interest, okay, theories of interest. Apart from this, like, we have another topic. It says old ties. India and Greece are finding new ways to revive an age-old relationship, okay. So here in this article, they have discussed about one important thing. Recently, like, there was an election in Greece, okay, in Greece. So there was an election in Greece, and just after election, the person who was earlier the prime minister, he was re-elected. And soon after he was re-elected, the Prime Minister of India has visited Greece. And after visiting Greece, the Prime Minister of India has interacted with the Prime Minister and President of Greece. And then, like, they have, let's say, revived the ties that were already existing between India and Greece. And not only they have revived, they have also thought of, let's say, like, going for a strategic partnership, okay, going for strategic partnership, okay, strategic partnership between these two nations, okay. So now they want to, let's say, bring the partnership between India and Greece to the next level, at the level of strategic partnership. And here the Prime Minister of India has said that, like, last time that any Prime Minister has visited from India was Miss Indira Gandhi. She has visited there in 1983, okay, 1983 or 1982, that time she has visited. And after then, now the Prime Minister of India has visited. So this visit is, let's say, like, this visit is considered to be one of the, let's say, like, very good visit by the Prime Minister of India, because, like, these two countries have, let's say, strengthened their ties between them. So we do have civilizational ties also with Greece, because, like, Alexander the Great, he has invaded India in 326 BC, okay, in 326 BC he has invaded in India. So, like, he, let's say, like, tried to invade in India, and he has, let's say, defeated many kings, like, that came in his way, okay, that's the thing. So now there is one more topic. It says, okay, just a minute. There's one more topic. It says the Pragyan rover encounters crater during moonwalk. Okay, so we know that like we have launched the Chandrayaan mission, right? We have launched Chandrayaan 3 mission, and since Chandrayaan 3 mission was launched, we have landed the lander module on the surface of the moon. From the lander module, the rover module came out, and that rover module started roving on the surface of the moon. Roving means it has started traveling, and it has encountered a crater. Crater means a kind of gap or hole, right, that it has encountered. And because it has encountered the crater, so it has changed its direction, it has changed its path. So this is the update from the ISRO, right, related to Chandrayaan 3 mission. Then this is another article that says population growth not a panacea. Okay, so the thing is like we are seeing that Indian economy, like the economies like India and many other countries, so they are growing. India along with, let's say, like like countries, for example the Pakistan and many other countries. So they have discussed about India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Pakistan and Philippines and Vietnam. So these countries, like their population is growing. However, population growth is not going to bring any solution. The population which is growing, so they need to be educated also, they need to be trained, so that like they do not become a burden on the economic resources of the country. They become an asset for the economy. So like there was a report that was recently published by Moody's, and in that report they have said what they have said. They have said that like we need to educate our population, we need to like focus on education, we need to focus on skilling the population, so that like the population grows. Then we have a question here. It says, with reference to the census, consider the following statement. One of the statement is, census is a statutory process governed by the Representation of Peoples Act. This statement is wrong, because we do have a Census Act 1948. This is wrong. Second, it is covered in the Union list under entry 69 of the 6th schedule of the Constitution. This is not 6th schedule, this is the 7th schedule of the Constitution. So correct answer would be option D, means like neither 1 nor 2 is correct. Okay, so with this, let us move to the last topic. This topic says, like IBM, Microsoft to balance both seeking and avoiding AI regulation. So since artificial intelligence has come to the let's say to its forefront through generative AI, we all know the utility of generative AI. It is helping us in, let's say, generating content, it is helping us in making graphics, it is helping us in translating languages, right? So with this, like different countries have come forward, they want to regulate the let's say artificial intelligence. So these companies like IBM Intelligence Business Machine, Microsoft, like they are not avoiding, okay, they are not avoiding AI. What they have done, like they are also thinking of going for this particular thing, regulation, but like they are balancing both the view. Okay, so they are balancing seeking regulation and also avoiding regulation. Okay, so this is the thing. So that's all from my side for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.